Not being considered, not enough, not seen, not heard, rejected, punished. Most of us have experienced this. It's not something that is going to be out of your life because you learned or you noticed your belief, right? So this belief actually needs to be worked on. And it's not necessarily hard work in that sense. I would say it's work that is very painful at times. Painful because you're looking into what you have been given to yourself. Painful because you start to see that you have been suffering for a very, very long time. It's a belief that has been there for many, many years. And when we start to actually ask ourselves, is it really true? Is it really true that I'm not considered for a job, for a salary raise, to be friends with someone, to be seen in your family, to be recognized for who you are? Is it really true that you have not been considered or that you have been not good enough? Is it true? And who says that inside of you? Who is in charge of that? Recognizing this, looking deeper into that thought that is actually coming up. See, most of us believe that what we think is true. We think we are our thoughts. We think we are our beliefs. We think we are our emotions. But when we start to dig deeper, when we start to look into who we truly are, and when we are going this path, we start to shed a lot of our skin. We start to really, really dig deep. And generally speaking, this is going through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. And it's such a hard work sometimes to be so aware of who you thought once you are, because you see that that's not who you are, and you see that how you behaved was absolutely against yourself. And it's the biggest pain personally I've experienced, where I've noticed how crappy I have been treating myself, how much pain and rejection I gave myself because of believing I'm not considered or I'm not heard. And that self-talk who was getting heavier and heavier and heavier, judging myself, shaming myself. See, you're again not getting it. See, you're not worth it. See, proving that what your thought is true. That's what your mind is doing, right? That's what you're getting or raising your awareness on, is what you're believing that will be actually externally being proven to you, right? So it's a matter of understanding that that cannot be true. That's hard when you are inside of this, right? It's hard when you start to recognize that being in a lighter zone, not feeling so heavy, not being in this heavy energy that is weighing you down because you have such a self-hatred belief system. There is only one way. There is only one way to stop feeling this heavy. There is only one way to feel lighter at your own table, where you are indeed the master. And that's when you start to get in charge of who you truly are. So imagine this. You're at the table, a huge table. And at this table, you have many, many different people. These people represent an emotion, such as anger, anxiety, panic, freedom, peace, love, happiness. All of it, right? All of it. Just everything. And when you look into your day, isn't this what you're constantly negotiating every single day on what you want to feel? Now, when we feel heavy, we have to allow ourselves to give the microphone to those ones who are very present, who are very now almost arrogant, right? And hello, it's me. I want to talk. Right? Like anxiety, right? Coming up. It wants that microphone, and you are sitting in front of the table and you're like, I don't want you here. You can leave. The problem is they will not leave the table. These emotions are within you. They're here. They're present. So the question is not if you want to take it or not. The question is, are you able to allow your body to let the energy getting through you so it can leave again, right? So this body is actually a helper for you to experience it and to let it go again. But if you hold back, it will start to be like a Pandora box where you have never really any control if you are going to explode or not. I learned that's pretty crap because I was doing this big time. It didn't really help because I've exploded and I got impulsive when I didn't want it to. But I couldn't control myself anymore. I was out of control. So much anger, so much hate, like I couldn't control myself anymore. As a child, I had huge difficulties with managing my emotions because I didn't have a role model to show me how to navigate through emotions. Now imagine this. You're giving this microphone to anxiety, to the person with anxiety, right? So imagine you are in front of that table, the master or the chief or however you want to name yourself, right? And you give that anxiety, you give them the permission to speak. It's scary. Extremely. Because you give that to that person, to that emotion, thinking it will never leave again. Because we learned not to give too much attention to those emotions, not to explore too much, right? Because it's a trap, right? You fall in and it's never going to leave again. We didn't learn that emotion is a temporary thing. You are a human being experiencing emotions, and the emotions are here to be experienced and transformed. So it is kind of really like it goes in and it goes out. It goes in and it goes out. If you hold back, you feel this under your shoulder. You feel the weight. I felt the weight so much. It was so heavy because I wasn't listening. I only wanted to experience happiness. So the microphone I gave only to happiness, and I ignored everything else. Totally. I ignored everything else. The problem is that all those emotions are adding up. But me, as the master, I'm stuffing them down, believing that I have control over that. And I think that's the biggest mistake we can do. Once we decide to allow our emotions to arise, to come up, to feel, to experience. And for example, we give this to anxiety, right? Coming back to that example. And we give the microphone to anxiety. The truth is, this anxiety just wants to be seen and heard. And maybe acknowledge that it has something valuable to share. Because sometimes, indeed, our anxiety has its value. We just find that anxiety is crap. We think that there are better emotions and worse emotions. And because we make this distinction, we believe that there is only certain emotions we are allowed to feel and the rest can go away. But it's not going away. If you are on this path and if you are watching my videos, it's not going away, I tell you. It will not go anywhere. It will keep knocking on your door. And sometimes that can be quite frustrating because we believe that we have dealt with it. But we are never dealing with the same anxiety again. So what we are doing is we are constantly understanding that there are layers to it, A. B, you can never learn everything at once. That's not possible. And this is an inner journey that is never ending. So sometimes our anxiety is our greatest gift because it's making us gaining so much courage to stand in front of that mirror to face everything we have, right? Everything. And it takes so much. And so what I've learned is to not only give them the microphone, but go into a meditative state, using your body to actually process this emotion, this heaviness, to learn that those emotions are allowed to be here. I'm not trying to control, but I will choose when to actually give you the microphone, right? I will choose, but I know that I have to go through it in order for me to feel more light, right? And you can put this as more consciousness, more awareness. You can put this as shedding my skin a little bit more, because all this is showing me more of who I am and who I'm not. And so the more I work with these emotions, the more I'm getting actually to the core of where I really want to go in this life and what I want to experience in this life, right? It's so important to find a way that is kind of nourishing for you, because you will need a lot of sleep. Maybe you will need a lot of good and healthy foods, which is a lot of greens, right? A lot of light food, vegetables, whatsoever, right? You may start to understand that you need to do more exercises that are maybe way different than you have exercised before. For example, my workouts started to change a lot. I'm not able to run that often anymore because I'm not in the mood to do that. While I used to be a big runner, I used to run a lot. Right now I prefer doing yoga, and I used to really don't like yoga, but for me it's not really about thinking too much of what I like and what I don't like. It's about what does my body need to help me to navigate through it, to move through it, to transform this, because we are afraid of this transformation. We are afraid to shed our skin. We are afraid to go through this process. So if you want to learn more about the process, the more embodiment practices, and learning a little bit more about moving through these energies, then come into the Woman Circle. It's actually starting next week, and you'll find the program and everything below this video, which is really about 13 weeks to process what you're holding back at this moment, right? Holding back in order to, or holding back because you're afraid to step into it, or you don't really know how this works. The thing is as well that we think that we have to do it by ourselves, which is absolutely wrong. I believe though there is a lot of times when, and this is also why I do it via virtual session, I believe we need a lot of alone time too. The alone time in this period is crucial because it gives us that time we need to really go inwards. And see, we give you in this group such a powerful time where you can explore and open up in a safe space. And then you're actually in your own home where you feel safe and protected. And you are right there where you can then even go a step further, because you are in this spot where you do feel safe. And I find this is the most important thing ever. I would never go somewhere where I don't feel safe. And this is not needed that you know those people or that you feel connected to those people. What is important is that we all have the same kind of vision, and even that is quite different, right? Some of us just want to feel better. Some of us want to, I don't know, find maybe someone they can connect with more, or have other goals in their life that they really want to see flourish, and that's all possible. But before we go there, we actually have to clean up our past and start to really, really dig into that area that is still hidden, because only then we can go through. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. With this said, I would say thank you so much for being here, for showing up. I know it's difficult. I know that this journey is not an easy one at all. I know that. But I believe that more we actually go inwards, the more we see changes in the outside world. And the more we learn what to choose and what is good for us, the more we have a different experience. And so with this said, thank you so much. And I speak to you soon. Bye bye.